Hey y'all. Welcome to the Refind You channel. If you are new here, my name is Alisha Bradley. I'm a mindset and manifestation coach, and I'm here to help you naturalize everyday miracles, making conscious creation and deliberate manifestation an everyday lifestyle, y'all. We are here to create the lives of our dreams, to bring heaven to earth, and to truly live in a way where we don't feel like we're settling. We don't feel like we're just dealing with stuff just because we have to or we're going through the motions. No. Every day we are creating our lives and we're living abundantly and we feel it. Like we just feel satiated by our lives. All right. So if you are on that type of time and if you would like to create the life of your dreams, then you are in the perfect place. Let's get to it like quickly, because I'm all about efficiency. I'm all about speeding up these manifestations and not skipping steps. And I'm also not here to sell you this manifestation process as if it's something where you can just think a thing and then it happens and then you don't have to do any work. No, this takes work. So people at Refind You, we understand that there's work to be done in order to align ourselves and shift ourselves to that end state, that end goal, those end manifestation goals. But I'm about doing that work effectively, efficiently, and speedy, okay? But we're not skipping any steps, you guys. We are here to not only bring manifestations into our lives, but keep them in our lives, sustain them. So if you're on the fast track and you're skipping these steps of healing that need to happen within you, skipping the steps of reprogramming your subconscious mind and those core beliefs and really shifting yourself vibrationally, like on a physical level to this end state that you're trying to create, if you skip those steps, you will very easily manifest what you want, but you may not be able to keep it. You'll lose it just as quick as you got it. So instead of going through that whole trauma, because that's a traumatic experience in and of itself, we don't need all of that. All right. So let's just do it the right way. All right. So please like this video, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to, leave a comment, share with a friend. Do whatever you feel inspired to do. I really appreciate it. It's getting this algorithm pumping for us, y'all. We are getting these numbers up, and this is just the beginning. All right. So today I wanted to answer this question that I answered last night in my Heaven on Earth VIP group. I went live for our first day for our body challenge, y'all. We're still on the first day. The official first day starts today. So if you have not yet signed up, do so. You are not too late. All you got to do is catch the replay of the live, start the first day, and we're good. And you get a personalized, well, not each individual doesn't get a personalized sleeping meditation, but the group itself gets a sleeping meditation for body image. And it's pretty cool what I put in there. So that comes with you investing in the group as well as being a part of this collective. Okay, we are all working diligently and together and supporting each other and decreeing for each other, affirming for each other, praying for each other to get these manifestations moving. So if you're into that, it's not too late to sign up. All right. But last night during the live, somebody asked a really important question that I thought you all would benefit from as well, like hearing my interpretation and my perspective of this. So she asked, is praying coming from a lacking place, right? Like, how do I know if my prayers are coming from a place where I'm implementing these manifestation tools, right? Like living in the end state, knowing my power, knowing that I create my reality, but yet I'm praying and I like to pray, but am I praying from a space of not having and lacking the power and authority to create the version of my life and the version of myself and those around me that I want? Great question, because I see prayer as a spectrum, and it's like there's a spectrum, but there's also like these graduations to the next level of how we interact and pray with the divine. So the way I see it as, like, years ago when I was very early on in my spiritual journey and really understanding who God is in my life and how I experience God, I would most definitely pray from a lacking place. And that looks like surrendering and showing reverence, which I'm all about showing God reverence. God deserves our reverence, okay? So I'm not at all about not revering and respecting the divine. But I would do it in a way where I was very scared of God, because to be a God-fearing woman, right? Fear is a word that is just, I feel like it's harsh, because I don't necessarily believe that we need to fear God. We need to revere. God and all that God does in our lives, in our hearts, in our worlds, in this universe, how God works with us. So in the past, I would do it from this fearful space of not wanting to be judged, not wanting to be condemned, not wanting to, just be punished for me being a human and me being me. So I would come from this very desperate, fearful place, and it was this parent-child relationship, which I still engage in this parent-child relationship with the divine. But before, it was that, and that was it. And my role was only as this powerless, undeserving, fearful child. And I would pray to God and ask God to fix it all. Okay, I would ask God to fix it all. Not doing anything within me to contribute to this process of the fixing of all the things. I would just ask God to do it, because that's what I was conditioned to do through the church. So now that I've learned and I've deepened my spiritual knowing, my spiritual fortitude, increased my spiritual just knowing and maturity, now at this point, I interact with God in various ways, and I see the spectrum of interaction. And I'm sure there's even more expansion that I'll experience in my life, but this is where I'm at right now. But I know the spectrum will grow over time. I just know it, because it's never ending. And now I enter into my prayer time with God in various ways. There is the parent-child relationship where I am asking God to give me the strength that I don't feel I currently have in this moment, whether I'm dealing with defeating negative thoughts that don't happen as often as they used to, but they still happen, right? Once in a while, they still happen. I ask for strength or for courage or for whatever the thing is. I ask to be replenished with this feeling, this emotion, or this strength that I need in that moment. But then there's another way that I interact with God, and that's this partnership. Because I was really opened up to this idea, this concept that God wants us to work in partnership to co-create these experiences in our lives. So now sometimes my prayer looks like a board meeting. I don't know what to compare it to, but it looks like a meeting of the minds. It looks like the meeting of the minds. This micro divine and this macro divine are meeting. And even though I know God is bigger than me, we're still in this meeting, in this maybe brainstorming phase, maybe this imaginative phase, maybe this phase where I'm meeting with God and I'm allowing God to download things into my conscious awareness that would then inspire movement in me and changes in behavior in me to lean into this idea that was downloaded into my imagination by the divine. So sometimes it's this meeting of the minds, the divine minds, and me absorbing this information, these downloads that are for me and that are for me to manifest in this physical reality. Then there's another part of the spectrum where prayer looks like more like decreeing, right? So now I'm taking full authority, full divine authority, not full divine, but a lot of the authority in my life to decree what the movement that I want to see in my life, to own it with authority, to declare it and to know that it's happening. And to conjure up that divine, that macro divine, conjure that macro divine within me as I'm decreeing it, because I know I've been given that authority and I have that power to speak a thing into existence. And if I'm aware that God is within me as I'm doing it, now I'm embodying God. So that's another form of prayer, the embodiment of God, and knowing that I have the authority to make these commands in my reality and that the universe will shift and move accordingly. So this is the spectrum here. And I engage in other types of prayer, but that's pretty much the spectrum that I think all people should try out. And again, please share, right? Because all of your experiences are probably going to be different from mine, maybe some similar, but maybe some differences. Add to this spectrum in the comments. This is a place where we can really have a dialogue about this, because I'm sharing my specific experience, but I am here to widen my perspective and expand the way that I interact with God and the way that I pray. But all that to say, so going back to the question from the Heaven on Earth group member, she was saying, is praying coming from a scarce place? And it can. It can. And many of us have been conditioned to pray in that way. And so this video is just to expose you to or remind you of your ability to step out of that parent-child role and to have a bit more, power and authority and say so in how your life is going. Yes, it is very lacking and scarce to believe that you have to look outward to this thing out there that's going to come in and fix your whole life, because you don't have the tools, the capacity, the ability to make these changes yourself. So yes, that is coming from a scarce place. It's coming from a scarce place when you are recognizing what you don't have and you are feeling like you can't do anything about what you don't have. So you need to call on something outside of you to give you what you don't have, what you're recognizing you don't have. That is a story that you're creating about the not having of something and the needing to look outside of you to obtain that something that you don't have. That is very scarce. And so let's shift that, right? If you are going to enter into prayer in that parent-child role, I highly suggest that you come as a curious, childlike being, right, in this world. Come curious, come asking questions, come asking for some downloads, come asking for some insight, some inspiration to help you maneuver the situation. And you're not asking out of the place of, I don't have the insight, I don't have this, I don't have that. You're coming from the place of, I totally have it, and I know what I need. I know what I need to do here. But I'm coming into this dialogue with you, God, because I could use a reminder. I could use a reminder of this knowing that I have in me that comes from you. Or I could use some exposure to something that I may not have tapped into within myself. And not because I can't, but maybe just because I haven't yet. And I'm taking this opportunity to open myself up to that possibility, right? So that's a changing of the mindset when you are entering into this prayer space. Try to not come from that desperate, lacking, powerless, childlike, like juvenile space, okay? You are knowing of all of the things that you need to know. It's all in there somewhere. It's all in there somewhere. All of the insights, the revelations, all the things that come to you and you're like, oh my gosh, I learned something new. Like it might feel new to your conscious awareness, but it's deep down in your divine awareness, you already knew it. That's why it resonates, because it's like a reminder, like, oh snap, yeah, I feel that. Like you feel it because you knew it already, and you were just reminded of what you already knew, that you maybe blinded yourself to. Maybe that knowing or that voice was muted after a while because all this programming kind of overcrowded and took over and trumped the things that you knew. But it's just a coming back to yourself. It's coming back to your natural state. That's a naturalizing miracles, right? We're coming back to our natural way of experiencing these miracles within us and without us. And this is nothing new for our spiritual being. Our spiritual being knows it all, but we're being reminded of it. I hope that helped. I kind of went off in different tangents, but I really hope that helped give some more perspective to what your prayer life can look like. And remember, God, my belief, okay, you don't have to take on my belief, but my belief is God is inviting you into this partnership, and God wants to co-create with you, but God also wants you to see your power and wants you to see your knowledge and wants you to see your current knowing and wants you to see all of the things, the tools that you have within you to do whatever you need to do. God wants you to see that as well, because people don't go in partnership with people who don't know their skills, right? Who are undervaluing themselves, who are not seeing what they're bringing to the table. So are you ready to graduate to that level where you know what you're bringing to this table when you are dialoguing with God, with Source, with the divine? You know the tools that you're bringing to the table, because guess what? God put them in you anyway. So just recognize what you're bringing to the table. You're not powerless. You don't not know anything. You know everything you need to know. And sometimes we just need to be reminded of it. All right? I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.